We are what? We are who? We are what? Vibrant. We are who? 50 plus. Hi, welcome to Gray Lives on the Rise. I am your host, Professor Jamila Franklin, and we are coming to you from Oyende Enterprises, being sponsored by Jamila Sense, which is our product line of aromatherapy products that helps heal the mind, body, and soul. And we are bringing to you Alamaj's rebirthing program, as well as Jamila Sense, and a host of wonderful programs that will help heal your body, heal your soul, and heal your mind. 50 plus people, we are here to stay. Gray Lives on the Rise. We are what? We are who? We are vibrant, and we are here to stay. Join us for our wonderful episodes. Thank you, and continue to look for our episodes weekly, being brought to you again from Oyende Enterprises and Jamila Sense. See you soon. Greetings, everyone. Welcome again to Gray Lives on the Rise with me, the host and founder of Gray Lives on the Rise, Professor Jamila Franklin. How are you? If this is your first time, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so happy that you have joined us, and we have the amazing Olma Inocentes. I think I pronounced it correctly. If not, she would correct me when she comes on. She is an amazing, amazing visionary. Before we get started, though, with our wonderful guest speaker, I want to tell you a little bit about how this came about. I was walking one day and I had this download. I am not religious, but I'm spiritual and metaphysical. So I had this download from the creator that says, there is nothing that targets your demographic, your age demographic. And I'm walking like, wow, that's profound and accurate. And it said, why don't you do it? And I'm an activist, very, very active in a lot of different causes. So I said, that sounds great. Let me think about it. And then I was thinking of a title, and I thought, Gray Lives Matter. I said, no, that's cliche-ish, it's overused. And then Gray Lives on the Rise came to me. I said, wow, I like it because lives rhymes with rise. And so that's what I pursued. And also the information that I received was like, don't do a podcast first. Lay the groundwork for it. Because if you do a podcasts come and go. I know. I used to have my own Blog Talk radio show for 5 years. And people remember it a little, but I didn't do the groundwork. So I said, okay, what should I do? First, come up with the name, which I did. Have a trademark, which is trademarked. And then come up with a store, because when people see merchandise, they remember. They have a visual. I said, okay, so both Alma and I have on our shirts, the Gray Lives on the Rise. She has on the beautiful black. I have on the beautiful white, see? And we have mugs, we have doormats, we have stickers, we have everything in the store. So go to the store, Oyende Enterprises, Oyinde Enterprises, ENTERPRISES.com. Again, it's OyendeEnterprises.com. And one of the companies underneath Oyende Enterprises is Jamila Sense, which is my aromatherapy company. And it is amazing. I'm a certified aromatherapist too. This product is all natural, and it deals with PTSD, stress, anxiety, depression, hyperactivity within children, sinus congestion, sinus headaches, a myriad of things. Okay, when you go on my website, you will see it. Like I said, I'm certified in aromatherapy, and you see it's clear. There are no additives in it, and you don't take it by mouth. You only put it in the palms of your hands. You breathe it. Oh my gosh. Oh, every time I breathe this, I'm like, oh, in seventh heaven. Takes away all the stress and anxiety immediately. So go to my website and you can put it on your arms. It lubricates the skin, and in the summer, it gets rid of flies and mosquitoes. It is a wonderful product, as well as some other products that I have online. So visit oyendeenterprises.com. It is the company, my company, that's underwriting all of my podcasts. So today we have the wonderful Olma, and Inocentes or Innocence. I'm sorry, I should have gotten the name correctly before, but she would correct me. Now, this woman is amazing. She's kind of like me, like a solopreneur. She is amazing. She's doing all these wonderful things, multitasking, like me, going to bed late, getting up early. So we're kindred spirits. I can really relate to what she's doing because I'm doing something similar. She's a lawyer entrepreneur with more than 35 years of legal, management, and administrative experience, freelance writer, MC, and speaker. She is the founder partner of the OMLLI Group, LLC, a Virginia company offering business, management, and legal consulting services, legal and identity protection plans. We need that because people are now really becoming very, very crafty and taking your identity. So she's the person to contact for that, okay? And fulfilling outsourcing needs. So if you have a company and you would like to do outsourcing, this is the person, okay? And she is also a founding partner of Gold and Green LLC, a Virginia company offering health, wellness, and fitness consulting services and indoor air quality products. She's also the managing partner of Inocentes. She can correct me on this, and sits on the board of several companies, both in the Philippines and in the US. She's a member of the bar of the state of New York, Washington, D.C., and the integrated bar of the Philippines. Now, isn't that amazing? She is amazing. She was chief city prosecutor of Las Pinas City, Philippines from 1998 to 2006. She is an alumna of several schools, including St. Teresa's College, College of the Holy Spirit, University of the Philippines, Ateneo de Manila School of Law, Ateneo de Manila Graduate School of Business, and Georgetown University Law Center. So, Oma, I apologize to you if I mispronounced your last name. I should have cleared that with you before. I'm sorry.
It's all right.
I didn't know how to say it. But if not, please correct me. And the names, if I mispronounce any of the names, that's not my intention. I thought I was a pseudo-linguist, but I may not be. Anyway, so Alma, please correct me with the pronunciation of your last name. And we're going to have a wonderful conversation because you are just so multi-talented and you are amazing.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone, wherever you are in the world. And thank you for the kind introduction, Jamila. The pronunciation of my family name is, you are right, Inocentes. But I am the innocent one.
Yeah, but that's what I was thinking. I said innocent. That's what I was thinking. The same thing. That's okay. Yeah.
But my friends joke me about that. You're so far from innocent.
Yeah, but I went on your Facebook page and I saw this wonderful picture of you and your son. And you said your designated brother. I was like, okay. I found that really fascinating, interesting. But your entire background, I mean, from the Philippines. So you're originally from the Philippines, and then you moved to the DC area, and you became, you entered and passed the bar for the DC area, and for the Philippines, and I think for Virginia.
Yeah, New York and DC, Washington, DC.
Wow. So let me just go back because we're going to have a great conversation. With little Olma, what was she like growing up in the Philippines?
It was very different. Tonight's theme for me is transitions, and that's actually an example of a transition, culturally. When you move from one country to another, you grew up in one country with different culture, different traditions, and way of life, and moving to a totally different environment. So that's a major transition in itself. And
Right.
I would say growing up I was very lucky.
Mm-hmm.
We were my father worked hard to provide good life for us, so we were well off, and it was we had all the advantages, education wise, and clothes and toys and travel and all that. So I was very happy. That's why he was very I would say surprised and a little bit annoyed maybe when I moved here. His question
Mm-hmm.
was, "You live here like a princess. Why would you go over there and do everything yourself?" Because of course we don't have, like, live-in help here, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you do everything, housework and all that, and go to work. So it didn't compute for him.
Right.
And I
Right.
said, I like it, it's such a different life, and I have so much freedom to be who I want to be, right?
Yeah. 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 Because sometimes in different cultures, females are respected and honored, but they are not revered in the same way that males are. They're not they're supposed to be, uh, without sounding negative, they're supposed to be like a compliment to the male, to the husband, but they're not supposed to pursue jobs like being a lawyer, a doctor, a person who owns a company, a manager and all that. That's not part of the script. And it
Mhm.
wasn't part of the script here in this country about 50 years ago. Women were not supposed to do. Women will go to college 50, no, 50, 60 years ago to find a husband. They were going to college 60, 70 years ago. Some pursued their careers, but the whole thing was, well, if I'm not successful in my career, I will leave with the husband. So now things are very, very different. And so culturally, I can understand why your dad would say, okay, why are you leaving this privileged life to go over there to start from scratch, not have any of the necessary help that you have here in the Philippines? It's going to be a struggle. But you saw it as something different, as something that was yearning within your soul that you desired to do in another country, and you've been very successful in doing it. So I commend you.
I've been lucky. Oh, well, it's not all roses, right? I
Yeah,
have met some prejudice along the way, but
right.
you know, that's life.
Yeah,
You go through
yeah,
it. Just plow
yeah.
through it.
So why did you choose the DC, Virginia, Maryland area?
The funny thing is, when back in the 80s, my very first trip here to the US
Hmm.
was one of the cities I visited was Washington, D.C. And
Mm-hmm.
in my mind at the time, I said, oh, if I ever decide to move here at some point, I don't know why I thought about that. It would be in this city because I know I found it neat in the sense that it's organized, the
Mm-hmm.
planning of the city, and I like it that there are no buildings taller than the monument, and it's for me it was just the epitome of what government should be:
Oh, okay. Okay.
neat, um, precise, organized, and people are just, I found them nice. They
Mm-hmm.
say Philippines is a very friendly country, people are always smiling and all that. And they say, in the US, people are not so much as friendly.
Mm-hmm.
DC was fine at the time. This was back in the 80s. So of
Mm-hmm.
course, times have
Mm-hmm.
changed. People have been a little bit more protective of themselves and more, internalized. But
Right.
there are still a lot of friendly people around, and I found it really enticing to stay here. And so back in 2000, actually 2000, between 2003 and 2006, I was traveling back and forth a lot in the US, mainly because I was taking my master's here in Georgetown. And
Mhm.
I thought, I remembered what I said back in the 80s, and I said, okay, this is my chance. So I stayed.
Mm. Wonderful. What made you pursue a career in law?
That's the other thing. I'm the very first thing I ever wanted to be was an astronaut.
Wow, okay.
That's funny, right? Um, then my father, who was a lawyer and became a judge later on,
Mhm.
he was the one who actually persuaded me, very, very heavily persuaded me to go into law. I was a physics major to begin with. So I
Wow.
started my college as a physics major. But every year he would up the ante, bribe me more with, oh, if you shift and go into pre-law, I'll give you this, I'll give you that. In the end, it was more, I felt bad for him because we were three girls and one boy. I was the third girl.
Mm-hmm.
And he said to me, you're the only one of my children with the personality to become a successful lawyer. So he was really persuading me, encouraging me. And
Mm-hmm.
finally I gave in and I said, okay, for you, I will. So I did. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the path I took. And I haven't, I mean, I'm happy that I did it. And
Mm-hmm.
he's gone now, but I'm happy that I made him happy.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. But obviously, there was a passion that grew within you since you have successfully passed the bar for three jurisdictions as opposed to just one. That takes diligence, that takes perseverance, and that takes commitment. So, what type of law did you decide that you would like to pursue?
Ooh, I've jumped from several fields. I started with labor law and then went into corporate law and then civil law and criminal law. So as you mentioned earlier, I was the chief city prosecutor for Las Pinas. Um,
Mm-hmm.
that is the equivalent of a district attorney here, roughly. So we do, of course, criminal prosecutions. And then when I moved here, I joined this firm in DC. We were doing international arbitration.
Oh, okay.
And then after that, I went into another company here in Virginia, and we were doing corporate governance. And now I'm
Okay.
doing estate planning.
Wow.
So yeah,
So
it's been a wild ride.
yeah, but you have a very diverse background. So are you able to go from area to area, or once you, like you're an estate lawyer now, so do you have to only do things in that area, or can you go back to corporate governance and go back and forth? Do you have to get certified in it, and do you have to recertify? How does it go?
Well, specifically, you're supposed to be a member of the bar of the place you're practicing in.
Mm-hmm.
So I am a member of the bar of New York and Washington,
Mm-hmm.
D.C., and of course the Philippines. So specifically, you're not supposed to practice law outside of the jurisdictions where you have your certificate, right? But
Mm-hmm.
uh, there are certain areas of law that you can practice nationally, like immigration.
Mm-hmm.
And there are others, let's say, fields that you can go into without specifically being allowed to practice law in a state. So for like consulting services, you don't really have to have the certificate or be a bar member because you're just, consulting. You're not actually giving legal advice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Well,
I can do certain stuff, but
uh,
not officially give legal advice outside of the jurisdictions I'm allowed to.
okay, okay. That's really, really amazing. So in terms of our specific demographic, what would you like to offer to this particular audience? I see estate planning definitely as
Oh,
something people with 50
definitely.
plus really need to be involved in, and things like, now I'm gonna get my little personal thing in here, almost since I have you on here. Trust and wills, because years ago, I know for me, people were really interested in getting wills because that's what was popular, and people didn't know that much about trust. Now trusts are the in thing for people to get. So can you tell people the difference between getting trust and wills, and people who are 50 plus, how they should be planning for for their children and their grandchildren? What should they do? They should seek your services, your legal services, but just general information. What should they how should they plan for the rest of their lives?
Well, each of us have, different estates or different assets, liabilities, and all that. So it depends on your own particular circumstance, what you want to do, whether you want to do a will or a trust. Most people know about wills, because that's normal. We grew up with that, and our
Right.
ancestors, parents and all that. So wills are pretty much a very simple affair, except of course if you're somebody like Elon Musk, and you have all these properties and all that stuff, but
Mhm,
to be much more simple, wills are the simplistic way to do it. You have
mhm,
your beneficiaries, you have your assets. You want to say, okay, this goes to that person, this goes to that,
yeah.
and all that, and charities. A lot of people now also give to charities in their wills. So trusts are a little more complex in the sense that it creates a different entity
Mhm,
where you house all your assets
mhm,
aside from you. So it's separate from you.
mhm. So
So
people can't
again, yeah, sorry.
they with the trust, if they sue you, they don't they cannot touch your assets because they're inside this legal entity. Whereas with a will, they can sue you and attack your personal assets.
Yes, that's one of the advantages of a trust.
Right.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
it protects you from creditors.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of people, like I said, becoming introduced to trust, and because a lot of them had wills, but they still don't really understand the full parameters of what a trust involves. What One of the most tragic cases I heard of was with Aretha Franklin, who was a renowned R&B singer, and she had quite a bit of money, and she had not set up a will nor a trust. So I'm not sure what's going on with that case now, but that was really heartbreaking because normally, and you can correct me, if you don't have a will or a trust, your assets then will go to probate
Yeah,
court, is that
yes.
correct? And then the state gets involved, and the state then has a fiduciary interest in what goes on and can decide what to do with your monies. Is that correct?
It varies by state, but technically, yes, they can come in and if there are no heirs or if there's a big issue about heirs and who gets what, then yes, they can step in. But really, not really, in the
Mhm.
sense that it's still the heirs. If you have heirs, then your assets will go to the heirs.
Okay, okay, because I was thinking that you had to have a legal document like a trust or a will in order for the people who are your heirs to receive the benefits, to receive the properties, and to receive the monies left over.
No, it's if you have a will or a trust, then yes, it's very plain, it's very simple. What's on that document will be followed.
Right.
But if you don't have that, then each state has a way of distributing your estate to your heirs. So again, it varies by state.
So what would you advise people to do in the interim? You know, at this stage, would you advise everyone to consult a lawyer to do estate planning?
Definitely. But it's, it's not just a lawyer that you need for your estate planning, because you need to have your accountant, your lawyer, your financial manager if you have one, because it's more complicated now than it was before, right? A lot of people think that, oh, I don't have that much, I only have the house.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
need a will. But it's not that simple anymore. So yes, your first step is to consult a lawyer and then go from there. But it is really very advisable to have a will or a trust. Not only that, also because you have to have the whole package.
Yeah.
If you, us, our age, health is, not a really happy place for us at some point in our lives. It just deteriorates, and you need to have all of that in place in case you get to the point where you're not, you cannot be asked anymore what you want or what your wishes are. So those are documents also that go hand in hand with wills.
So when people have diminished cognitive abilities, then they should appoint someone who is over their finances and over their health care.
Yes.
Yeah. And also,
Financial and health. Yes.
yeah. And also for people who may not have children or family members, they can designate friends to be their health care.
Executors.
Yeah. What's the title for that? Some people.
Executor.
Executor. And they can just draw up papers and have the papers notarized. So if they have to go into a hospital or something like that, then it's not an issue because it's already laid out. And the state then is no longer the guardian, quote unquote, because the state will take over if you don't have those papers in place.
Yeah. And then again, it differs by state, because you mentioned a notary public. Some states require witnesses, a certain number of witnesses, maybe one for one this state, and this state requires 2 witnesses, for the notary. So again, it's really advisable to go to a lawyer and consult.
Yeah. So what would the services be if someone were to come to you? If I were to come to you as your client and I'm 50 plus, what are the things that you would tell me as my lawyer to prepare for my estate, to do estate planning? Because we glossed over it, but in terms of giving me step by step as a lawyer, and then definitely securing your services. But what would you tell me in the beginning stage, like a consultation? I'm coming to you and I'm asking for a consultation. What would be the things that you would ask me to bring to the consultation or to think about prior to the consultation?
Well, first of all, what I always ask my clients is, before we even start talking about wills and trusts, is to make a list of all your assets and your liabilities. When I say it's complicated now, it's not just a simple thing about the house, the car. It's more complicated these days because we just have more stuff and we don't really think about it. So what are examples of an asset, for estate planning? So you have real estate, whatever, house, property. Maybe you have a second house or an apartment somewhere aside from your main house. So you have securities accounts, bank accounts, stocks and bonds, checking accounts, savings, certificates, T-bills, promissory notes. Maybe somebody owes you or you owe somebody, promissory notes, maybe judgments. Maybe you've had a divorce or you're required to pay alimony or child support. So you have to have all of that: judgments, life
mm,
insurance policies, any other vehicles, boats, motorhomes. And then if you're involved in a business, any business interests you have, and
mhm,
then IRAs, all your retirement accounts.
mhm,
And then you have if you have a safe deposit boxes, and then all other contracts that you may have with other people,
mm,
copyrights, expected inheritances, benefits and rights under other trusts, trusts of other people. And then
ah,
if you have any powers of attorney, maybe a friend of yours or a family member made you an attorney, in fact. Uh,
mhm,
Digital assets, they are now included. Digital assets, they're everywhere. So you have your email accounts, e-commerce, marketplace accounts, social media accounts, subscription
wow,
services, banking and credit card accounts, utility accounts, contact lists, Bitcoin. And you have your NFTs, the non-fungible tokens. You have your websites, domain names, digital photos, digital rights to other literary compositions. You know,
wow,
so much stuff you don't know that's out there, and you just take for
wow,
granted. You have to have all of that, and it
wow,
will be your heirs who would have a hard time getting all of that in place, and
yeah,
putting them all together for you if you don't do it. So
yeah.
be kind to your heirs. Do it now.
Wow, this is so informative. I never would have thought of something like your websites and your social media accounts and
Yeah.
all the digital information. It never would have come to me.
And remember, when they try to get into your accounts, they need your passwords, right? So
Yeah,
that's another thing.
yeah. Well, wow. It's something else that's come to me. This is so informative, and I know that people who are listening are going to be very much interested in contacting you. That's what I'm projecting. But what about people with debt, particularly if someone transitions and he or she owes the IRS? Does that debt pass on to the heirs?
It's the estate that will take care of it. So first of all, when if you hopefully you have a will, and the very first one that actually gets paid off are your taxes. You can't get away from that. So the taxes will be paid, whatever is left, and then creditors. There's a list. Again, it's by state. There's a list of priority creditors that must be paid before your estate can be distributed. So once everything's taken care of liabilities wise, then whatever's left can be the ones that will be distributed to your heirs.
Mm.
That's a general overview of it, but there's still so many things that you have to consider, and that's why it's very important to consult with a lawyer.
And very important. I was reading about a month ago a very high profile case dealing with Michael Jackson's estate, where I think the federal government is saying that his estate owes millions and millions of dollars, and his family is contesting that. And I said, whoa, I mean, it was a hefty sum. It was like over $500 million. So
Whoa, I
yeah,
didn't see
yeah,
that.
yeah. I haven't checked into it recently, but yeah, it was really a lot. So when people transition, I call it transition, people can say die or whatever, it's really, really important for the heirs to know their debt, um, their indebtedness, because they're thinking, okay, I have all of this money coming to me and I have these assets coming to me. Check with your folk. People who are 50 plus, make sure that they know where you stand so people can then start understanding what's going on and not be alarmed and not be disappointed. Another thing too is with reverse mortgages, with people, because I know people in our age groups are very interested in reverse mortgages. I know friends of mine who have them. So when the person transitions, the reverse mortgage goes back to the bank. That's my understanding. And the heirs then don't inherit the property because they don't own it. The bank owns it. And if they desire to acquire the property, then they have to start a new mortgage over again. I think that's the way it goes. Is that the way it goes?
I'm not exactly clear. I remember looking into reverse mortgage years ago, and I can't recall right now how that goes.
Yeah, I
I'll have
think
to
people
look into
should
it
definitely.
again.
Yeah, but that's a popular thing now with people who are seasoned and mature. They desire not to continue to pay on a mortgage if they have a mortgage, and they are getting reverse mortgages. So please investigate all of that, everyone. The ones who have the reverse mortgages, talk to your heirs so people can know exactly what's going on once you cross over a transition, because people may think they have assets that they may not have. So having these money discussions, and people sometimes don't like to have money discussions. I was very happy, very pleased when I was young. My mom used to always tell me where things were, her insurance policies and all this stuff. And when you're young, you don't want to hear that. It's depressing. You don't desire to know that your parent is going to cross over. My mom was an older parent when she had me, so she was making sure that I knew where her papers were, and that really served me, because when she crossed over, I was well in my 40s, and she'd been talking to me for all my life, as far back as I can remember, about where her papers were. So I wasn't at a loss. I knew what could take care of her burial expenses, the burial policy. I had all of that. So I think it's incumbent upon us to talk to someone like Olma and really talk to a lawyer to make sure that, because things are more complicated than they were when my mom transitioned, like she was talking about. Talk to a lawyer so you can be really well advised as to how to make sure that your relatives are not in a precarious position, because they're left behind dealing with all that, trying to figure it out, and you're and you're gone. So I think even though money discussions have been very uncomfortable for people, particularly people of color, please sit down and have these heartfelt discussions with your children, your grandchildren, and your heirs now. Because Aretha Franklin crossed over without a will, and I'm not sure if they're still contesting it. And I think Prince, I think the same thing happened for him, because people don't want to think about that, but you have to. So what else would you like to share, Oma, in terms of estate planning or any area, legal area?
Well, as you mentioned earlier, I have another company where I offer wellness services. It's coaching and consulting as well. So I was actually going to speak about transitions here, life transitions, more about estate planning, but I'd love that you brought estate planning up, because that's a big part of my business too. So these transitions happen because it's a part of life, right? So we transition all the time into different stages of our lives. And the point is having and going through these transitions with intention, grace, and resilience, right? So these transitions, what are they? They are periods of change that we go through, from one stage of life to another, and they often involve significant shifts in identity, the roles we play, relationships we have, and circumstances at the point in time that it happens.
Mhm.
So this could all be transitioned well, in the sense that you can go through all of this emotional, physical turbulence if you
Mhm.
just have the right tools and the
Mhm.
right help. So that's part of what we do with the Gold and Green. We offer those coaching and consulting services, because in our age bracket, 50 plus, we go through expected and unexpected shifts.
Right.
Most of the time it's divorce, unfortunately.
Mhm. Mhm.
Uh, we remarry
Mhm.
happily, and then retirement,
Mm-hmm.
and unfortunately, again, caregiving, right? For
Mm-hmm.
our older relatives.
Mm-hmm.
So
Sometimes for your partner, your husband, or
yeah,
your wife. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So those can be planned or unplanned, and we just have to, go through all of these stages and be stronger for it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So
Unfortunately,
how do you help people with that part of your business, with the wellness, the health and wellness? Are you coaching them
yes.
in
So we
terms of
offer
the
coaching
lifestyle?
services, and I
Mhm.
give tips and helpful videos. I post them on my YouTube channel. It's the themes or the titles of each of those videos are more on really helpful tips on everyday living, which
Mhm.
will include transitions. And of course, I have tools that I can share, give you examples on what to do, how to navigate and embrace transitions. Like, for example, all the emotional turbulence that you feel with all the changes, leaving home, being an empty nester.
Mhm.
That is really very sad for us parents to go through. But again, it's a natural stage. We need to let our children go, right? Find their own paths. So again, those are stuff that I can help with, my company can help with. We can give you coaching services to help you through that.
Mm.
The unexpected loss of a loved one,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
grieving through that. And the best thing actually is finding the community like yours, what you have started, finding a community that you can be a part of and give you support,
Mhm.
right? And part of that is also finding a mentor or a coach to help you one on one.
Mhm.
Having a community is great because, no man's an island, but there
Exactly.
are always times that you can't just tell everything to everybody, right? You need that one on one thing,
Exactly.
that more intimate connection. So a
And
coach can help you.
I think what you're providing is so ideal because that's one of the purposes of Great Lives and Arise. Like you said, is so perfectly. No man is an island. No man, no woman is an island. But what happens in this society, nuclear families as opposed to extended families are very popular. So then people feel isolated and alone because they are living alone and they don't have anyone that they can talk to. And they suffer, some people suffer in silence.
Yeah,
And it starts affecting their health because they become depressed. They become um, yeah, just very sad. So coming to someone like what your company provides in terms of having a coach to let them know that their lives do matter, that they are not over the hill, that there is support for them out there. I think that's really wonderful because as a person think it affects your body. So if you're feeling depressed or sad or despondent, any of that, it's going to affect your health.
exactly.
It's a connection.
Yes. That's why everything, financial, physical, emotional, that's
Yeah.
why you need a holistic process to go
Mm-hmm.
through all of this. And that I believe you offer that, right? You're into holistic
Oh
also,
yeah.
yeah, life
Yeah.
life coaching. Yeah.
Mm, I do. I do. So wh- what is a typical type client that would come to you for your wellness services? What is the profile of, or is there one?
No, there is no profile because each one of us would have something that they would need help with, so it's
Mm-hmm.
different. But I offer general holistic life and wellness coaching and fitness too. But the fitness is very specific to um, the X one that we call the X exercise. So uh, it's very specific. Actually, it's good for longevity
Mm-hmm.
because as part of, again, helping with your transition, physical health is very important.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It touches so much, it overlaps areas of your life,
Mm-hmm.
and it helps you just actually doing an exercise every day. It
Yes,
lifts your spirit. It makes you feel better, not
it
just
does.
physically, but emotionally better.
It does. The endorphins change. And also
Yeah.
something as simple as walking. I walked today for 2.5 miles. I usually walk about 3 miles a day, and I got up to about 5 miles, excuse me, a day. And it changes your moods. The endorphins and everything in your body
Exactly.
tend to reshift. And getting out in the sun is important because you get vitamin D. You can take vitamin D in a pill, but the best form is getting out in the sun and having the sun's rays beam on you. So I think that's wonderful. Do you have groups or do you work one-on-one?
I work one-on-one because I find it's easier for the client to do it because sometimes they can't express themselves when there's a group.
Right,
Yeah.
right. That's wonderful. And so when a client comes to you, is there a particular, do you see quite a few clients that are in this 50 plus age range, or are they
Yes.
younger?
Yes, yes, I do. Um, Many of them are more concerned about like retirement,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of uh, trying to figure out how to do it, what to do when they're in it, and more really like dealing with the fact that you're growing old,
Mm-hmm.
right? We grow
Seasoned,
old. All of us grow old.
or more mature, seasoned.
So it's the stage really of self-discovery, because that's what I keep telling my clients. Shifting, transitioning into retirement, it's not the end of the world.
Exactly,
Shift your
exactly,
perspective. Think
exactly.
of it as an opportunity to rediscover yourself.
I like that. I like that.
Yes, there's so
Yeah,
much stuff, so much skills that you can still develop, and
yeah,
you can think back and wonder or say, what did I do or what did I want to do before that I haven't done? This is the
yes.
time to do it.
I like that. The
Yeah.
children are out, like you said, you're an empty nester, and some people have paid off their homes. It's the time now to discover what makes you happy, independently of your role as a
Exactly.
mom or dad or
Mhm.
whatever. What this is your time. This your chance at self-actualizing. So
Yes,
what is it that brings joy to your heart, to your spirit, that you may have put on a shelf, put on hold to complete the role as a parent or caregiver, whatever? Now is your time to shine. I like that. Yeah.
exactly. And don't forget to also be adaptable, and be flexible,
Yeah.
because yes, you may have some plans, but something else may happen. So you need to adjust and readjust, constantly readjusting. So you need to be flexible. You need to
Yeah.
be able to jump from one plan to another, so you don't lose your stride.
I
I
like
have
that.
this friend who had all these plans of traveling during when he gets to retirement, but then unfortunately health problems intervened. So, but the thing is now they are very involved in community development, and
Mm-hmm.
even became leaders in the community organization that they joined. So, and they're very happy that they could give back.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think that's really good in terms of being adaptable and flexible.
Mhm.
So what would you like to leave our audience with? But before then, give us your contact information. And would it be the same for both companies?
Um, yeah, well, basically, yes. Let me see if I can. Do we have time? I can just change my background here so I can give you actually my um, contact information if I can find it. Okay. So let me see. Oh, there you go. I can find it right here. All right. Is it showing up now? Is it clear?
It's small print. You can see it, but it's small print. So can you state it?
So you can email me at info@omligroup.com. That's OMLLIGROUP.com. You can also check out my website, www.omligroup.com. And you can book a complimentary call. We can discuss what your issues are and how I can help you, and if you want me to help you.
I think that's really important with the discovery call.
Yes.
So people can see the breadth of your services, which are your services are very, very comprehensive and extensive. So I am so honored that we had the opportunity to talk about both your companies today. I was focused more on estate planning, but I'm glad that
Oh, yeah, that's very important.
And with this group is very important.
Yes.
So, but in terms of wellness, I think Olma has a wealth of information, and you can go to her website and check out both these companies and place a discovery call, a consultation, to talk to her at length about either one of her services. And I know you'll be very, very pleased and very honored to talk with her. She has extensive information about both areas. And she has passed the bar in the DC area, Virginia area, and in the Philippines. So if you're living in those areas, and even if you're not, she can provide you with some general information during a consultation call, and you can still hire her for some of her services. Because now, since the advent of COVID, we are now doing a lot of things not restricted to states. People
Yes,
become
exactly. Yeah.
even global. That was one of the pluses of COVID. People now are extending and expanding their businesses. So almost,
And speaking of expanding businesses, if you're in the Asia area, then I can help you with real estate in the Philippines. Our family is into real estate in the Philippines.
yes.
And
See?
let's not forget, physical, when you're developing your physical health and maintaining physical health, it's not just your body, it's also the environment around you. So we offer air quality solutions, for your home or workplace. We have cutting edge technology with our Healthway indoor air quality air purifiers. I'm
Telling you,
really into a lot of stuff.
she has a wealth of information, like I told you. This is the person. You have a question? Call Alma, go to her website. She has a wealth of information. I know that you'll be very, very pleased. And tell others about her services too, because she's a giving soul, as you can tell, and she's more than willing to help you. So hire her, not just consult her, but hire her as your legal advisor in so many areas. And wellness advisor too. She's very good at that, because we need to know that we're not alone out here. And when we are 50 plus, a lot of times people who are younger than us rush us through things. They don't have the patience, like she had the patience to tell us all about the various areas in estate planning, including digital. I've not heard that anywhere. They just don't have the patience to go over things like she does. They're not as diligent. Yeah, I think I'm being a little ageist. I am. But anyway, thank you so much, Alma. I appreciate you. And I know that people are going to seek out your services. So thank you for giving us this opportunity to know what we should be doing in terms of wellness and health, as well as estate planning.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me here, Jamila. As we all reflect on the changes we are going to go through in the future, it's essential to be proactive, right?
Yes.
So
yes.
I'm here.
Yes.
And you're there, and thank you.
Yes.
I really, your group, your not website, the first time I saw it was on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like, oh my God, this is my group.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
it
yeah,
really caught my attention, and I'm so glad you started it.
yeah. Well, I'm so glad that it was given to me as a download because it's growing by leaps and bounds, and I'm so grateful and thankful. And also global, like Olma can represent you in the Philippines, and you have people from Australia who've been on, from Serbia. This is a global movement. So thank you, thank you, thank you. So everyone, until next time, thank you for joining. I am Professor Jamila Franklin. We had the pleasant opportunity to talk with Olma Inocentes. I love that last name. And please stay tuned for the rest of our episodes. We are on every Sunday evening. Tell your friends, family, neighbors, whomever. And we're a global movement. Okay. So until next time, take care. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Gray Lives on the Rise, being brought to you by Jamila Scents, which is the product line of Oyende Enterprises. Jamila Scents is a 100% natural aromatherapy line that heals the mind, body, and soul. This episode of Gray Lives on the Rise was intended to uplift you, to inspire you, and to motivate you. Please tell all of your friends, family members, and anyone you know who's 50 plus, who's living a vibrant life and interested in doing more and enjoying life even to its fullest. So thank you, and please subscribe, like, and comment on this video and all our videos. Thank you, and until next time, until our next podcast, namaste and be well.